I just don't get that. This makes no sense. Now, why does that gotta happen? Eating all the freaking cookies, man. All the freaking cookies. There ain't no cookies left in there. They were there this morning. Who ate the whole bowl? Golly. Oh, roll the intro. Hey you guys, it's MJ and welcome back to Pet Adventures again. And as always, go and check us out on all our social medias. The links are down below, so go and check it out. And don't forget, I have a brand new second channel where I vlog and do lifestyle type videos and how-tos. It's really awesome, so I made a vlog a little recently over there, so check it out. You might like it. It's not about pets, but it is something a little different. And just so you guys remember, these are the patrons of the week. So if you want to be a patron, go on over to my Patreon. The link is also down below, and I'll put it somewhere up here. So if you want to be a patron, go and donate as much as you want. You can donate as little as $1. It doesn't really matter. And it's really awesome. You get like all kinds of fun rewards and you know the drill. So today's video is a special video that I don't really do that often. I know you guys ask me a ton of pet questions, like a ton. Like when I say a ton, I mean like really bad. And you guys know that technically I like my questions always usually in the Instagram section, and I have a full inbox right now. Do they still call it inbox? Whatever. I have a full inbox in my Instagram of messages of pet related questions. So we're gonna get right down to it and finally answer all those really crazy long questions that you guys just need to ask me. And that's okay, because I give you guys that impression. I forgot what I was signing up for at some point, which makes no sense. I should know. But I know, I'm like you guys' mom when it comes to the channel, so I'm sorry, okay? But we're gonna get to it now. Okay, so these questions are going to be from Joshua Morecom. I'm getting some fish, can you give me advice? And we cannot find penguin in South Africa. And I did reply to this. It says, I have fish videos on my channel. Also, just ask a specific question and I'll answer it the best I can. The tank from my grandmother is about 20 to 30 gallons. It has 2 guppies and 1 black moor with plants, but the tank goes green very quick. It has a filter and a light with a stone at the bottom with small rocks. It goes green. Honestly, I don't think I've had a problem like that. If anything, I would probably check your filter a little more or maybe get a new filter. I use the Aqua Clear filters. Those are really great. You guys know I love those. Those are a hang-on back. I also would get a sponge filter in there. Also, try to do a few water changes. This could be a cycling issue. It sounds like a cycling issue, so if you're going through the cycling process, then most likely you're having all kind of nitrate spikes and stuff like that going on, which is just so painful. It's a pain in the butt, I know, but it sounds like a cycling issue to me. Personally, a lot of weird things happen when you're first cycling a tank, like the water gets foggy a lot and all kinds of things, and the water gets really acidic when you're first cycling, unfortunately. The best thing I could say is do very regular water changes, and when you're cycling a tank, like doing a water change, it usually you have to do it like every 2 days. It's really painful, but the process lasts for a few months, maybe 2-3 months or something like that. It really depends. But yeah, sounds like a cycling issue to me. So If anything, the best thing you can do is just test your water and see what's going on in your water. See where your nitrate's at, your nitrite, all that stuff, your pH levels. See what that's like first, and then I think from there you could probably determine what could be wrong. And if you're testing it a lot and you have good filters and everything seems to be going okay, then I don't know, at that point you would really just have to research it. Sorry, that's how you have to do it sometimes. Okay, so this is from Maria's Tiny Zoo, which is super cute. I am going to follow her back real quick. So she says, "Hi, this is Maria. I got my 2 girl rats and I love them, but one of my rats, Mila, bites me every time my hand comes near her. And then I start bleeding because she can really bite hard." Ooh, if you're bleeding and it's a really hard bite, then that's definitely not, it's not even a warning bite. I was wondering if you had any advice. I also think they fight sometimes. I need some advice. Okay, so that's a little tricky, but there's definitely solutions for that. Now, as far as fighting goes with your rats, that is actually really common. Even though rats are social and they love being together, at the same time, rats do tend to fight. You guys know I had Oscar and Charlie live together. They were my 2 rats that were basically like almost the mascots of my channel. So, and just in case you guys don't know, they did pass away. It was kind of recent-ish, but they were all really old. All my rats lived their full life, so don't worry. I miss them now, but you know, it is what it is. But they used to fight all the time. And honestly, there are a few reasons why that happens. The first reason is if you're first getting rats, very, very common for rats to fight. It is almost unavoidable. However, when you're first bringing rats home, there is a process that you have to go by, and if you don't go by this process, the fighting can be terrible. When you're first bringing rats home, you legit cannot have any part of the cage smell like another rat. I don't know if you said you got them at the same time, but when you're bringing rats home, everything has to smell brand new. They do not like any kind of other smells in there. So that is one reason. It's a territorial reason. Also, you can't just put 2 rats together right away. There are territorial issues, whether they're female or male, whether they're fixed or not fixed, doesn't matter. Rats can get territorial either way. So you cannot just put 2 rats together right away. Even if they're both going into a new home, you still can't just put 2 rats together. So there is a process. You slowly have to get them used to each other. Basically what you do is you take an article of your favorite clothing, you leave it with one rat, and then just for even a night is good enough because they'll, trust me, they'll stink it up by then. So let them have that for like 1 whole night or something like that. And then you put that in the other cage with the other rat. And then that rat smells, that other rat smell. And then on top of that, you want to have your other rat's cage next to, you want to have 2 cages next to each other, but obviously not too close so they can smell each other and see each other, but not actually be together so they can't fight. And then slowly but surely, you do playtime. You do about 30 minutes, or you can do 15 minutes depending on how it goes. You do playtime in a neutral area. Has to be neutral ground. It cannot be anywhere that they consider their territory. So neutral ground could be like a bathroom or somewhere in the living room, couch, whatever, something like that. So slowly and slowly you kind of work your way up, but that is a process. I don't know if you took that process, but it is a process that you have to do when getting new rats, even if you're buying them at the same time. Now, as for biting, there is totally a way to stop this. I remember I lessened my rats biting by a lot, and because I had an aggressive rat myself, and his name was Lucky. And it lessened a lot the more I played with him. Now, I know that this is scary because you are gonna keep thinking that they're gonna bite you, but the thing is the way a rat sees it is if you leave, and this goes for other rats around them too, if you leave or another rat leaves, after a rat has bit you or fought with another rat, the more you leave, the more they think that every time they bite you, you're just gonna leave. So your instant reaction, believe it or not, should not be to automatically go away. You can give the rat a few minutes to calm down, but either way, I recommend playing with them as much as possible or letting them be on neutral ground. Even if they're really, really scared, here's what you can do, and I promise you this will work. Take your aggressive rat to a neutral area. Bathroom is really safe. No one's gonna come in there. Or a closed-in hall that no one's gonna be around. Just anywhere where you can have the rat just be wherever it wants. Now, if that rat is super duper aggressive, they're going to be doing annoying things like trying to run away from you and stuff, but what you're going to do is you're not going to touch this rat. You're just gonna sit there and wait. You can be on your phone, whatever, but you're basically forcing this rat to be around you, but you're not forcing you guys to touch or anything like that. So you're just gonna sit there. You really should have treats with you. Definitely you should have treats with you. So when the rat starts getting comfortable, however long it's taking, you can do this day by day. Things may not happen right away, but overall your end goal is going to be the rat eventually coming up to you, coming on your lap and getting the treats from you, and they're gonna slowly learn that you're not a threat. And on top of that, during this whole thing, you do want to have gloves at least ready. I would wear gloves just in case you decide that everything's kind of going good with your rat and then all of a sudden they want to get you. Because rats can kind of be a little like that. Like you think everything's going good and then all of a sudden, bam, 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 bam. Also, when a rat is aggressive, they do not like being touched on the back or the sides. I do not recommend touching them or poking them or trying to cuddle them or anything like that. They get really, really touchy, so do not pet your rats. Do not do anything to your rats. The only thing you can do is hold them if necessary to transport them somewhere. So they are not in a touchy-feely mood when they're really, really, really aggressive. It just makes it worse. This is from Chris C. I'm not gonna say his last name. He says, hey, my name is Chris. I picked up a ball python on Saturday and had some questions about under tank heaters. Was wondering how effective they are versus heat lamps and if they are safe to use with aspen bedding. Was also curious about if it would harm the furniture that the tank is sitting on. Okay, so this really depends on the snake. He says he has a ball python. So honestly, when it comes to ball pythons, I always would say go right for the under tank heaters. There's no real reason to have a heat lamp. If you want to see your pet, that's a different thing. You can get a, regular a regular light, or a UV light is even okay. Just, far away from the tank, not too close, but you definitely do not need a heat light. It's 100% not necessary. I've had a ball python for quite a while now. I think I've had him over 4 years now, and he's been doing great with just an under tank heater. So heat mat, as you also call it, is really great for ball pythons. So I would always pick that over a heat lamp. I think that heat lamps can be damaging. I think that it can hurt your snake, because what happens is snakes get curious, and I don't take credit for this. Snazzy Nikki, actually. You guys always know I mention Snazzy Nikki a lot because I'm a big fan of her, and I learned everything I know just about from her. Well, when it comes to reptiles and stuff. But she said that your snake will kind of slither up and get curious, and I believe this because my snake, 100%, my snake, he'll go up and get curious at the top of his cage, and luckily he just has a tub, but he does that sometimes, and if he had had a heat lamp, he would have burned himself a couple of times. Also, I worked in the pet stores where some ball pythons or other snakes came with burnt noses because their former, pet care parents had heat lamps, and it was just sad. It was really sad. So I definitely always recommend that. And also with your heat mat, I recommend getting a thermostat. So I have a thermostat for all the heat mats that I have. I didn't always have them, I'll admit. I had to learn, unfortunately, because we all gotta learn sometime. Okay, don't judge me. But I did learn eventually, and you definitely need a thermostat because sometimes, depending on if you have a tub or a tank, that heat mat can go a little crazy. So you gotta be able to have an automatic shut down, back and on with the thermostat. But yeah, that's what I recommend, because that's just me. So this is from Trey on Facebook, and also this is a very common question. So if you ever ask this question a lot, you're finally getting your answer, and I do not want you guys to freaking ask me again, okay? Seriously, don't ask me, because I'm about to answer it. And for the end of time, when it comes to me answering this question, it's been answered, okay? He says, hey, I recently found your page and was wondering if you had any videos or tips on how to litter train rats. I've watched and read a few things, but I'm trying to get as much input as I can to make sure that I do it right. Thank you. So Trey was asking that question, and it's a very common question on my channel. So I personally litter trained my rats just by, mostly it was just by their pooping though. It wasn't by peeing at all. So if you're trying to litter train your rats as far as peeing, I don't think I can help with that. Maybe someone else can, but I certainly can't. So I litter trained my rats as far as pooping goes. What I did is when I first got rats, I took all the little poops they had in the cage and I simply just moved them onto their litter box. So slowly but surely they started realizing that all the poops I was putting that were in the cage were all going to that litter box, and eventually they realized that that's where all their smell is, and then they just said, okay, this is where we're gonna start pooping. And it was that simple. It took about 2 weeks for them to learn that, and it was really, really simple. So every time they poop somewhere in the cage, just keep an eye on them the best you can and move every single poop into the litter box. And always, always keep a few poops in the litter box. I know that sounds kind of gross, but I mean always keep a few. Just even 2 or 3 will be fine. Just keep a few in. Sorry, I am getting distracted today. What are you doing, Bugsy? Probably I'm getting distracted by that ghost. Cause I don't want to die today. I don't, man, I don't. But yeah, just keep moving those poops, and eventually they're gonna realize that their smell is in there and they're always gonna poop in there. And again, leave some in the litter box. Like even when you clean, try to leave like 2 or 3 in there. Because if you don't, they may stop using the litter box completely. So this is Woo Nice on Instagram. So he's saying, hey, how's it going? I've been watching your YouTube videos for some time now, and you've inspired me to think about taking care of ratties. Unfortunately, I need to wait a few weeks before I get mine because I'm going on a vacation soon. And it made me wonder what you do with all your animals when you travel. Thank you. So I told him I may have some videos on this particular topic, but I wasn't sure. So I'm just gonna say this right now. But when I travel, I think I have a few videos on like what you can do traveling with, or actually I have one video of what you can do when you're traveling with your pets. Like if you have to take all your pets there, and I covered fish, I covered like small animals like rats and mice and hamsters, and I covered reptiles and arachnids as well. But I don't think I covered cats or dogs. But that's because those are more basic, so I felt like I should just talk about the harder ones to travel with. But what to do when you're gone, right? That's kind of what he's asking. What to do when you're leaving and you want your animals to be okay. So the first thing I do recommend is, if possible, try to get someone to check up on your pets for you. It can be your mom, your dad, your sister, your brother, whoever you trust the most. But I do recommend having someone check on each individual animal and just making sure the basics, you know. Do they have water? Is their heat mat on? That kind of stuff. Very basic stuff, you know. Do they have water and Are they getting fed? You know, have someone drop the food there if you can. Now, if you do not have this, let's say you just don't have anyone to help you with this. So I found this really great thing for reptiles where it is a self-watering bottle, and I love this and I think this would be awesome. So I really recommend using a self-watering bottle for your reptiles. I found this at Petco. I think you maybe can find them at PetSmart too. It's just like a bottle, and then it has a bowl at the end, and literally this thing, even if you're gone for like a whole week, this thing would totally help them get water. Now, another option is getting a mister. I do recommend, you know, you could try getting a mister. A mister automatic, if you have it, an automatic mister, if you have it on automatic, it will come on and off throughout the day, and no matter what reptile you have, if they see that there is water on the glass and they're thirsty, they'll drink it off of that too. So that's really great. You can help your reptiles that way. And as far as the self-watering bottle, you can, you know, I mean, you could do that for a lot of animals, honestly. And luckily with rats and mice, you don't have to worry about water that much because they have a water bottle anyways. Now for eating, what I recommend is you can put snacks in the cage that are okay to leave out for a while. Like lab rat blocks, those are really great, and if your rats don't eat them all up right away, give them like a good amount before you leave, and that should tie them over for a while. Things that they can chew on and things like that are great too. Another thing you can try are Whimsy Chew Toys. Whimsy Chew Toys are actually meant for dogs, but they're not only chew toys for rats and mice and hamsters, but they're also completely edible. So your rats and mice and hamsters can also eat these. So it is something to kind of gnaw on while you're gone. And you also could give them, now these are super unhealthy, so I don't recommend them, but it's just a one-time thing for when you're gone. You also could put a small block of those like little nutty bars that they make for like hamsters and stuff, and it has like seeds and stuff in it. It's a little sweet. You can put like a small amount of that in the cage because those don't usually get eaten over time. But I mean, I don't know if your hamster or rat is gonna eat them the whole thing right away. I've never had a rat that doesn't eat its meal, like the whole meal, so I'm not sure what you can do about that. If all else fails, really just feed them the best you can right before you leave. Like give them a nice solid meal, and then that's it. Also, you do want to make sure that all your cages are completely clean. I remember last time I went on vacation, I knew I was going to be busy with vacation and my husband, and we were going to be leaving on and off and doing all these things. So I did every single water change, I did every cage cleaning, I did every single thing, I did all my chores in my house. I made sure everything was going to be perfect so that when we finally went on vacation, there was nothing I needed to worry about. Everyone was going to have a clean cage, water, food, you name it, everything was going to be fine. So that's really important too. When it comes to like fish and things like that, don't worry about it. They can go a little while without eating. A lot of people always really overreact about fish eating, and really fish dying of not eating is the last thing that they will die from. Trust me, I've never had a fish die from starvation. There are millions of other things that usually kill fish, and starving is not one of them. And reptiles are the same. They really don't need to eat every day, so if they go quite a few days without eating, it should be fine. Just give them a decent amount of crickets and worms right before you leave. Make sure they have a nice big hearty meal right before you leave, and I mean right before you leave, like literally just a few hours before you go. And then they can go a few days without eating. If it's like a week, they'll be fine. And that's basically it. That should pretty much tie them all over. So I know this isn't every question, but I so know there are tons of questions you guys ask, but these are just some ones that I got recently on Instagram and Facebook. So the best bet you have is if you have lots of questions for me, please ask them in my Instagram message inbox thing. I don't even know what time I'm living in anymore. I don't know what I'm saying. I never do. But yeah, just leave me a message on Instagram and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And if you're lucky, I will make a video like I'm doing now about it. So yeah. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and please subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and give this video a big thumbs up, especially if you love pets. And don't forget to leave questions down below, and I'll see you guys next time.